A really rainy few days. We have brilliant sunshine here in North Texas today. I will venture out, stick my nose out the door to see what sort of temperature we've got running later. Okay, so hopefully someone will let me know where they are. So let me just spend a few minutes on telling you what I'm going to do today. I need a sympathy card, and it's a bit of a story, but I decided that I wouldn't go for just a conventional sympathy card. I wanted to say something more than simply "I'm sorry." So I decided I would use sending hugs. I thought that that would be a lovely sentiment to give for my card. And so Splendid Thoughts has a lovely sending hugs greeting, and it has some lovely leaves and things. So I thought I would use that, and it's got a coordinating die set called Splendid Stems. So those are my sort of starting points. And I also decided that I would use Gorgeous Grape along with Pepper Zazz. So those are my colours. Hey Ellie, thank you for joining me today. I truly appreciate it. Okay, so I also thought that I would share a few techniques, because oftentimes we get caught up in new ideas and things. So I thought today I would just share a few techniques for some of our cards. Now, I decided, as I said, that I would use Gorgeous Grape, and I also decided that I would sort of do a bit of a fancy fold, but a very quick and simple one, and just create this drop down corner. So how I did that was I got a card base. So here in the States, it's 4¼ by 8, sorry, 5½ by 8½, and I've just scored it at 4¼ and in order to sort of make a square, I've gotten my paper trimmer, and I've marked 4¼ so because this piece is 4¼ here, this bit there, I want to mark 4¼ down on my my side piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop that on 4¼ there, and then I've just got my pick your tool, and I've put the little ball tool in the end, and I'm just going to make a mark. So that's just a mark on the very edge there, and then I'm going to line up that mark with the cutting channel here, and with the center score line down here. So that will then allow me to make a score line there. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm not using my scoring blade for my trimmer. Well, the truth of the matter is that one of my customers lost her scoring blade, and because you can't get any replacements, I gave her mine. But this little tool that we have works just as well. It works perfectly, and you can sort of swap out your ends like that. And then we've got our little putty end, which is perfect for picking up embellishments. So that's why I'm using that tool instead of the scoring blade here. Who else have we got joining us? No, come on, I can see you're there. Maybe you just make a little comment just to let me know where you're from. All right, so there's my piece here. Then I wanted to put a piece of decorative paper on, and I've chosen to go, and it won't surprise you, those of you who know me, with this lovely pack of Splendid Day, and it coordinates with my stamp set and my dies. Excuse me, but if I could not blinden you here, you will see this is why I've chosen it, because it's all, excuse me, it's all shiny and it's all foiled, but on the back side it's sort of just printed. So that's why I chose this pack. And originally I was going to go with the shiny side, and I took a 4-inch square of paper. And the reason I've taken a 4-inch square is that, as we know, this piece here is 4 1/4, but I want to have a border around it. So if I take a 4-inch piece like that, I'm going to get my border. And so the next thing I have to do, and the reason I'm using a piece of copy paper, is that the glare off of that foiled paper can be a bit much on the screen. So all I'm going to do is to Ellie's saying, come on, please say hello, and I echo that. So there I have lined up my corner with the cutting groove there, and the other corner down here, and I'm just going to close this down and hold it really firmly and then just cut it in half. And then I've got my 2 pieces, so I can make 2 cards out of one 4-inch square. And if you look, it fits beautifully, gives me a lovely border on all sides. So this is where I think I'm going to surprise you, because originally I was going to use this side, and then I flipped it over and realized that this probably is a lot more subtle for the occasion that I want to do the card. And so I'm using the back side, which has got really beautiful tone on tone leaves, if you can just see, really lovely. So I am just going to use a little liquid adhesive to stick this down, and it's not wanting to work today. Let's see if I've got another one that will work. So much for being ready. Bear with me. After all my prep, you find that it's the lonely little adhesive that catches you out. I think my little hole must be blocked. Ah, there it is. I'm going to get gallons of the stuff coming out now. Yeah, it is a good match, Ellie. I agree. I was quite surprised because, as you know, I am a sparkly person, and I tend to look at the sparkles first and then forget about the back. That gives me, oh, just to make sure I've got it the right way around. Oh, yeah, good, good, good. All right, so that's my starting point there. Gone a little bit crazy with the glue. I told you I would get gallons after, it wouldn't work for a moment. So there's my starting point. And I have got a liner because I am going to need something here to write on, to write my message. And I've decided that that is where I'm going to put my greeting. Oh, Ellie is standing there. She's my cheerleader today. Thank you, Ellie. So I'm going to put sending hugs. So that's my greeting from my stamp set. I'm going to put it at an angle so I don't have to worry about lining it up, making it center and level. And the stamp set also has got this cute little bee. So I'm going to pop him in there as well. And while I'm at it, I'm going to put this cute little bee on my envelope. So I can forget about my envelope. That is done. And so we can pop this in. All right. So we've looked at how to make that corner card and how to cut a square into a triangle to fit in there. And I'm just going to add some adhesive to this piece because I want this piece stuck down. I don't want it to be flapping around. I want to make sure it's stuck down well. So we're going to go with some adhesive, liquid adhesive, and align these pieces up, really press firmly. There we go. And I'm going to set it aside for a few moments with a punch on the top just to add a little bit of weight there. Yes, he is a cute little bee, Ellie. And I believe there's a die for him in the set as well. I think that's him there. So you could always stamp him, colour him in and pop him. But I'm not going to do that today. So with my decoration, I'm going to use some of these leaves. And I did do a little bit of pre-cutting. This one here, and I've done in Pear Pizzazz, and then I've bought the Gorgeous Grape through as well here. And then I'm going to do a solid leaf. So by that I mean a leaf that is has got a stamp, which is this one, with a matching die, which is this one here. And it's going to cut out without sort of the middles missing, so it gives a bit more solidness to my arrangement. So I'm going to share another little technique here for stamping out a shape with a die, but it's usually what we do is we stamp and then we cut, and then we've got to worry about getting everything lined up and is it going to move when it goes in our cutting machine. So what I did was I cut out my piece. So here it is. I've already cut it to save a little bit of time, and I'm going to remove the middle, and I have put my stamp on my Stamparatus, and I've just stamped onto a piece of scratch paper like that. Then I'm going to get my outline and I'm going to line it up exactly with my stamped image, making sure that I've got a nice border. Now I have done this technique on a couple of other projects that I've done videos on that you may want to go back and have a look at. So then I'm going to get my blank and I'm going to pop it in. Just press it firmly just so it hooks itself in. Oh, I must have some adhesive on my fingernail. Yes, I like this method, Ellie. Because sometimes you just find that when you've got it stamped and on your cutting machine, it moves a hair, just a tiny fraction, and before you know where you are, you've lost your stem. So we've got some ink on, and just gently bring it down, press firmly. And then I can see I haven't got enough ink up here. I don't think I pressed there, so I'm just going to go back and just press that down. And that's the beauty of the Stamparatus, because everything is lined up. I haven't touched it, and you can see that we've got the ink transferred. And I am just going to go in and just put a little bit more ink on that top piece. For some reason it looks a little bit thirsty. Okay. Ah, that's better. Now I can use the gummy or the putty end of my little tool and it'll just help lift it out. There, and we've got another little technique for creating our cards. All right, so now I have my 3 decorative pieces. How are you liking it so far? So I'm thinking that probably they need to go like this. So let's fetch my card back in. So this long one here, I'm going to pop up on the sort of the long side of my paper. But I want some of them to actually be showing here as well. So let me just maybe tuck that there and bring that down. What do you think? Well, I think I'm happy with that. Right, so we're going to add some adhesive. Now, because I want this bit hanging over the top, I need to make sure that I don't put any adhesive on those top leaves. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a real old mess. All right, so I know a lot of you, if you're here in the States, your day has just started, pretty much like mine. But I know Ellie's in the UK. How was Russell's vegetarian dish yesterday? Oh, excuse me. Now, thinking about it, I probably could have used some adhesive sheet on these fine pieces. So I'm going to have to use a different method for putting some adhesive on. Now, you only do this if you know you don't have an allergy to that type of adhesive. So I've just got a little on my pan there. There's a tiny little speck on each of the tips. Now this one here is going to go fully on the card, so I know I can do that. I'll put a little bit there. All right, so there. Ooh, the little monkey moved. I need to leave that there just for a moment, just to set up there. Okay. Yes, Ellie's talking about her son, and one of his hobbies. All right, now this one is going to go here, so I must make sure I don't put any adhesive on these tips. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, and I have one a little bit at the bottom, maybe a little bit in the middle there. All right. I'm going to just get rid of that little bit of adhesive. It'll just rub off. But as I say, please don't do it if you have an allergy or you have super sensitive skin. So there you can see I've got my bits hanging over the edge there, which look really, really attractive. Okay. So now I've got these bits hanging here, kind of in mid-air, not really doing anything. And I've got a big gap here that is a bit on the empty side. Now there is another die in the set, and it's this one, and it creates, well, depending on which way, I guess it creates a little mound that way, or this way it will make a bowl. So I went back to the paper pack again, and I couldn't resist it. I just had to use some of the shiny stuff. Thanks, Ellie. And I'm going to just cut a small piece off. Although this is like a sympathy card, I figured a tiny bit of shiny will work. So I've got my mini out, and for those of you who may not be familiar or just need a little gentle reminder, I'm going to use my white plate, the number 1 plate, then that's followed by a clear plate, number 2, then I'm going to put my piece of paper with the die, and then another number 2 plate on the top. Give those a bit of a nudge in and crank it through. Yes, a bit of foiling, definitely. And it's quite subtle. I'm thinking it should go there. I'm thinking it should go there. And so a couple of these mini dimensionals I think is going to work. So I like these minis using smaller pieces. You can always use the larger ones and cut them in half, but that makes your scissors sticky. And I'm not into sticky scissors. Okay. So I want to try and center this up a little bit and make sure my stems have all disappeared. I think that's looking around about right. Yep, I quite like that. So now we've got a final bit to do. So I was thinking either we take some of these lovely iridescent pearls, or maybe a bow. I found this on my workbench. Oftentimes when I'm doing design work, I think I'm going to use a bow, and I tie it and I decide I don't like it, so it goes to one side. So, anybody got any suggestions? That we could, should I do the bow? Maybe. Or should I use some of these pearls? Or should I just leave it as it is? Anyone got any ideas? Okay, so Ellie would like pearls. So let's see, where should we go with the pearls? So these are really pretty pearls. They're whiter than the regular pearls that seem to sort of have a bit of an ivory hue to them. These are really white ones, and they don't have a glow like a pearl does. They definitely have a bit of a shine. So where do you think we should put them? Okay, it's not obvious to me at the moment, so let's have a little think. Well, we've got some big ones and some small ones. So, well, maybe I could put a little trio. If I put a big one, yeah, I pretty much do wear a lot of pearls. My grandmother did, and when she passed away, she left me some money, and I bought my first string of pearls, and then my mum lent me her pearls for my wedding, and then she gave them to me for my 50th birthday. So I have some really fond and sentimental memories on pearls, and I wear them an awful lot. Okay, so is that enough pearls, Ellie, or do we need something more? I can't decide. Anybody else got any suggestions of what we could do with this? Have I got enough on there? Is it okay for just as it is for a sympathy card? I'm still drawn to this bow, but Ellie thinks that that's is as it should. That's as no more, she says. Just need it's good enough as it is. Okay, so I'll put my bow away for another day. So there we have my card today. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. We've looked at several techniques, some really simple ones like using your your paper trimmer to cut triangles and to make a very simple fun fold, and I shared a technique with you on how to use your Stamparatus if you have one. If you don't have one, you can resort to lining everything up and using a little bit of painter's tape to hold it all in place. So there we have our Splendid Thoughts dies, as well as the stamp set, and our little bit unusual sympathy card. Well, it's been a pleasure to share this with you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe, perhaps you'll go ahead and do that, and then you'll get notified every time I publish a video or do a live. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining me today. Bye for now.